Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. Today, I am going to be answering more of your questions in another segment of Ask Judy. I have gathered together a number of questions that revolve around miscues, or they're not really bloopers, but mistakes, things that people have caught. Now that you all have these eagle eyes, because I've been pointing things out to you, more and more people are asking me questions about things they saw where things don't seem to match up. So I thought I would do my best to answer some of these and look into them. So it was a lot of research to go back and look at the episode and see what someone was asking about, and then try and see if I could shed any extra light on what that was. But I'm going to do my best here. So this one is from Highlands, who said, in reference to inconsistencies, in the episode The Wager, Aaron has a different hairstyle when you are training and told by Elizabeth to run around the house. Was this part of the episode filmed on different days? So I looked back at The Wager from season 8, and indeed, we have a very cute, funny little segment here where Elizabeth on the front porch of the house, we come out of the house and we're on the front porch, and she sends us off to run around the house. Aaron's hair is loose. Then it cuts to a shot where you see us exiting the front porch down to circle the house. And as we come off the front porch, we see that Aaron's hair is now in a ponytail. Yes, those would have been shot on different days. What's funny is it continues, because then you get the next shot of us coming around the side of the house between the house and the shed, and Aaron's hair is still in the ponytail. And then as we return to the porch, then all those porch pieces were shot on the interior set. So yes, they were shot on different days. So they would have shot all these kind of at the same time. So on the porch, they would have said, okay, we're shooting this piece. And they would have had Elizabeth send us off. And then they would have picked up the next point, which is after we've gone around the house, when we come back on to the porch. And now Aaron's hair is down again. And then she sends us off, and Elizabeth kind of follows us along, and we come back off of the porch, and now we're on the exterior set again. And as we come down off of that porch, once again, Aaron's hair is back in that ponytail. So good catch. I don't know why I didn't notice that. It seems so obvious when you brought it up, but definitely different days. And all of these things should have been caught by either the wardrobe person, the hair person, or the script supervisor, who makes these kinds of notes. And sometimes the actors remember things, sometimes they don't, because we're, changing clothes throughout the day. So which outfit, the wardrobe person puts an outfit in our dressing room, and, for scene 12. And so we put it on, and I'm not keeping track of what I wore on day 12. So things fall between the cracks. Mary Taylor asked about the episode The Long Night, when Elizabeth and Amy run up on the porch with wildflowers, Grandpa's sitting, and when they showed Amy, she had 2 dirt lines on her cheek, and Elizabeth had a dirt mark. Okay, so we see those. And then when Corbeth came, the girls had different marks, and they're more dirty. So now you see a little, when Corbeth comes, that Amy now has it's more smudged, and it just looks messier. And then it kind of goes back right towards at the end of the sequence. She's got the 2 streaks back. So I'm thinking this would have been shot on the same day, but sometimes what happens is you'll shoot the wide shot, the master, and they'll have whatever is going on. And then as they start going into the coverage, so then, maybe they get a close-up of Amy, and, if somehow she's changed something, maybe she rubbed her face, maybe something happened, they come back, maybe we went to lunch, and, maybe they had to break for lunch at some point during this. And then when they came back from lunch and they did the makeup touch-up, they just went, oh yeah, you had smudges here. When it goes to the shot with Corbeth arriving, they might have had to reset. So again, another camera shot. And anytime you go between those, there's opportunities for all kinds of things to happen, and touch-ups will happen, hair will happen, kids move around, they go back to school, so I think it probably just happened within that it somehow, lost its continuity on it. But I don't see that this would have been shot on different days, and they would have all been shot on the exterior set on the porch. Sharon Putman shared this, which just made me laugh. The doorknob on the mystery door to the grandparents' bedroom, so that's that door that's just inside the front door, and before you get to the stairs, and there's that door that I only remember seeing used twice, but so that's the mystery door there. Anyway, the doorknob opens on the opposite side than it did in earlier episodes. So I looked back. So I found something in season 1 here in the calf where indeed the doorknob is on the right side of the door. And I looked at an episode in season 2, The Odyssey. Again, the doorknob is on the right side. And then I guess Sharon caught this in the episode The Bow when I was talking about that, where that's a season 7 episode where the doorknob is now on the left. So you asked if this would be after the house burned down and was rebuilt. The bottom of the house didn't really burn down, so it could very well just be something that happened between seasons, because if for some reason they took the set down between certain seasons or whatever and then put it back up, or maybe they did. I would have to look at an episode right after the burnout to see if later in that episode, if that changed to imply that they put a new door on. So that's a piece of research for me. I'll get back to you on that one. Genevieve Wilkinson caught this error in the episode The Quilting. I caught something that didn't match up from scene to scene when it should have. In the scene where Grandma and Grandpa are sitting in bed looking at all the different quilt squares, and Grandma can't understand why Mary Ellen wants no part of it, sitting next to her on the bed is Miss Emily's quilt square of the golden leaf. But in a later scene, Grandpa goes to the Baldwin's house for some recipe and picks up that very same quilt square from earlier. So that's true. These scenes were in order when we actually saw the episode. We first see the scene with Grandma and Grandpa sitting on the bed, and that quilt square is sitting next to Grandma on the bed. And then later in the episode, we do indeed see that Miss Emily gives Zeb that quilt square to give to Esther. So good catch there. This is from C.S. Roethlisberger, who said a question about The Secret, where Jim Bob finds out he had a twin brother who died at birth. John and Olivia are looking at a photo which is supposed to be Jim Bob as a baby. Is the photo really a picture of David Harper? I sent the picture to David Harper and asked him if that was an actual photo of him, and he said it is not me. So not a picture of David. So who it is, don't know, but a cute little baby. This question is from Mutt5143 about the season 2 episode, The Honeymoon. David, Jim Bob, broke the wall as well as he looked into the camera, mouthed something, then ran out of camera range. Why would they want him, the only castmate, to do that? So I looked at that sequence, and as we're all sort of gathered around to send Mama and Daddy off on their honeymoon, it does appear that David looks towards the camera and then runs off as we're throwing rice or seeds or whatever it is we're throwing at the parents. After the parents leave, he returns to say that Reckless is chasing a skunk, and apparently, so I'm thinking that what probably happened there was that things were going on, and then the director or somebody was going to give David a cue about when to run off camera. So whether someone called or whether he looked over and saw, someone give him that cue to then run off, and whether he mouth, and he was like, oh, or now, or whether he was mouthing something about that. But he wasn't actually, he was looking in the direction of the camera, but I don't know that he was actually looking at the camera. If he was, I don't think he meant to be looking at the camera. So when he runs back in, he does say that Reckless was chasing a skunk, and the skunk has now run into the house. I do notice when he runs back in, there's a second there before he joins the group where it looks like he takes a glance down to look for his mark for where he needs to land to share this information. So this is season 2. So David was still pretty young and pretty new to all this. But then as we find out that Reckless has chased the skunk into the house, and we all go running in to get Reckless out of there, and hopefully the skunk out of there. As everyone's randomly going different directions, I also noticed that David bumped into Cammie and knocked her down. And then, she just kind of got up and ran off. So that was completely unplanned also. So a number of things going on in that little sequence there. Barbara Worley said, I love the reunion movie set in 1963. Just wondering if that is a picture of Earl Hamner to your right as the family watches John Boy's broadcast. I tried to get different angles on it. I tried to zoom in on it, but it's just blurry enough. Just kind of not quite in focus for me to be able to tell. It's possible it could be a picture of Earl, but I couldn't say for sure. So sorry, I don't have an answer on that one. Thank you for joining me for this segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. I will be back with more Behind the Scenes of the Waltons and more of your questions in another Ask Judy. Thanks for watching.